Hello and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. The show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information, of course, comes from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar,
and onthisday.com.
Yep. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else we gather throughout the show, check the description. Anyway, I am A.O. Xander.
Who do I named today? Cupcake, I think. That's not remembered.
Cake Cup.
Oh, Cake Cup. Okay. Yeah. Burst.
Yeah.
Right, burger. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's better than Nipple or Richard Pound, you know.
I think Richard Pound's a lot better than Nipple, but
yeah. Anyway, today is Frida's Day, also known as Friday, May the 6th, 2022.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to start us off here? Yeah.
Alright, and haven't done this in a while. Anyways, in 1527, we got the Spanish and the German troops sack Rome. Many scholars consider this the end of the Renaissance.
Oh, dang.
Ooh, shot.
9 years later, in 1536, the siege of Cusco commenced, in which Incan forces attempted to retake the city of Cusco from the Spanish. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyways, I'll keep you notifications here. Anyways, we got 5 years later, my bad. In 1541, King Henry the VIII, I think,
yep.
Right? Orders English language Bibles to be placed in every church. In 1539, the Great Bible would be provided for this purpose.
Interesting. Now that's that's weird because that's from before. So I guess the Great Bible was the one that they chose, and must have come out just a couple years prior. Anyway, 1 year later, in 1542, Francis Xavier reached Old Goa, the capital of Portuguese India at that time. Interesting.
Nice. Anyways, in 1593, you got the Dutch city of Coevorden, held by the Spanish, falls to the Dutch and English forces.
Nice. They took it back. Moving on up into 1659, during the English Restoration, a faction of the British Army removed Richard Cromwell as Lord Protector. Hold on a second. Pardon me. As Lord Protector of the Commonwealth and reinstalled the Rump Parliament. Yeah, Rump.
Interesting name. Anyways, we got 1682. We got Lewis. Oh god, whatever that Roman numeral is, what number that is?
14th.
14th. Okay, anyways, Louis the 14th of France moves his court to the Palace of Versailles.
Yeah, Versailles. By the way, did you hear me cough just now?
Your mic keep having this fuss, like staticky noise.
That's weird. Can you hear me good all right now?
Yeah, you hear me. Yeah, I hear you good.
Okay.
But every time you mute it, it's just really staticky.
Well, that's weird. Yeah, like I muted it because I needed to cough, and I don't want to cough into the ears of our viewers, you know? So.
Yeah.
Alright, well, duly noted. I need a new mic. In 1757, during the Battle of Prague, a Prussian army fought an Austrian army in Prague during the 7 Years' War.
Noise. Same year, 1757, the end of... Oh, Lord, here we go.
Yeah, you're out of practice.
I'm about to say Kanban here.
Yeah, that was right.
I'm just going to stick to that. Han Tholad that by saying daddy for a second.
Daddy. The Hoth and Daddy War. What?
Hannah Thola. I can't pronounce it, dude. I keep saying daddy.
Hanthawadi.
Sounds
And
like
thaw Addy. I don't know.
sounds like a slang, dude.
It does.
Anyways, this particular war and the end of Burmese
Hmm.
Civil War, which only lasted for 17 years.
Only? That's pretty long, dude. It's a
Yeah,
long
which
war.
is long war.
Moving on up into 1782, construction began on the Grand Palace, which was the royal residence of the King of Siam in Bangkok, at the command of King Buddha Yodfa Shulaloke.
Oh, sorry, I was
You're gonna
just
get a
messing
cat
with.
hair in your eye, and it's gonna hurt.
Oh, I do this all the time.
Yep.
Anyways, in 1801, right?
Yeah.
No. Okay. In 1801, the Captain Thomas, oh Lord, Cochrane, in the 14 gun HMS Speedy captures the 32 gun Spanish frigate El Gamo.
Dang. 14 gun versus 32 and the 14 gun won? That's embarrassing. 34
Hey,
years later, in 1835, James Gordon Bennett Sr. published the first issue of the New York Herald.
interesting. Maybe another two more, then I gotta go.
Alright.
So after the second to last year for my. Anyways, in 1840, the penny black postage stamp becomes valid for the United Kingdom and Great Britain and Ireland.
Cool. 1857, the East India Company disbanded the 34th Regiment of Bengal Native Infantry, whose Sepoy Bengal Pandey had earlier revolted against the British in the lead up to the War of Indian Independence. Cool.
Interesting. And the good old American Civil War, Arkansas. I always like to pronounce it that way.
Yep.
See, Kent, or gosh damn it. See, sends.
Seceded.
I'm so disappointed. Seceded from the Union.
Ah.
Now I'm gonna be pissed the rest of the day. Damn it!
Why? What happened?
I can't pronounce that damn word.
You can't pronounce a lot of words, dude. You know, don't worry about it.
But I'm pissed that I can't pronounce that one particular word.
It's just a word. As long as you can pronounce the bird is a word.
I gotta eat the slope now.
Ah.
So.
Alright. Well, I'll let you go, man. You have a good one.
Hey, you too.
In 1863, during the American Civil War, the Battle of Chancellorsville ended with the defeat of the Army of the Potomac by the Army of Northern Virginia. And then 1877, Chief Crazy Horse of the Owaga Lakota surrendered to the United States troops in Nebraska. 1882, Thomas Henry Burke and Lord Frederick Cavendish were stabbed to death by Fenian assassins in Phoenix Park, Dublin. I think Ireland, right? Also in 1882, the United States Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. What is the Chinese Exclusion Act? Let's look this up. Chinese Exclusion Act was a United States federal law, prohibiting all immigration of Chinese laborers. Well, you know what? I think we should bring that back. That's just personal. And have it be extended beyond laborers, but that's just me. Anyway, in 1889, the Eiffel Tower was officially opened to the public at the Universal Exposition in Paris. Nice. I've never seen the Eiffel Tower in person, and I'd like to one day. Jumping up into the next century, in 1906, which was 116 years ago, for anyone interested, the Russian Constitution of 1906 was adopted on April 23rd by the Julian calendar. 4 years later, in 1910, George V became King of Great Britain, Ireland, and many overseas territories on the death of his father, Edward VII. 5 years later, in 1915, Babe Ruth, the Great Bambino, then a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, hit his first major league home run. 365 days later, in 1916, Vietnamese Emperor Duy Thanh was captured while calling upon the people to rise up against the French and was later deposed and exiled to Reunion Island. Well, look at that. Yeah. Vietnam has been trying to get independence for so long. Also in 1916, 21 Lebanese nationalists were executed in Martyr Square, Beirut, by Djmal Pasha. And I wonder if it was already called Martyr Square, if it's because that it's called that now, because of that happening. So, but if it was already known as Martyr Square, then that's rather interesting that they choose to use that particular area on the world to do their action. Anyway, in 1933, the Deutsche Studentenschaft attacked Magnus Hirschfeld's Institute für Sexualwissenschaft, later burning many of its books. What is that? Magnus? Let's look this up. Obviously, it sounds like a school. The Institute für Sexualwissenschaft was an early private sexology research institute in Germany from 1919 to 1933. The name is variously translated as Institute of Sex Research, Institute of Sexology, Institute for Sexology, or Institute for the Science of Sexuality. That's interesting. Let's get this institute's wiki here. Add it into the underbar. Alright. Let's move on up 2 more years. In 1935, New Deal. Under the authority of the newly enacted Federal Emergency... why can't I read? Federal Emergency Relief Administration, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt issued Executive Order 7034 to create the Works Progress Administration. 5 years later, in 1940, John Steinbeck was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for his novel The Grapes of Wrath. In 1941, at California's Marchfield, Bob Hope performed his first USO show. Oh, cool. Also in 1941, the first flight of the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt occurred. Let's take a look at what this looks like here. I have a feeling we're not going to see Sohan today. That guy just does not like to communicate. I don't know why. But anyway, the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt was a World War II era fighter aircraft produced by the U.S. aerospace company Republic Aviation from 1941 through 1945. Its primary armament was 850 caliber machine guns and the fighter-bomber ground attack role. It could carry 5-inch rockets or a bomb load of 2,500 pounds. Oh, so it's pretty nice. Pretty useful aircraft. Multiple roles and all that stuff. Anyway, let's jump into 1942. During World War II, on Corregidor, the last U.S. forces in the Philippines surrendered to the Japanese. Oh, man. 1945, also during World War II, Axis Sally delivered her last propaganda broadcast to Allied troops. Good. We don't want any of your crap. Also in 1945, also during the Second World War, the Prague Offensive, the last major battle of the Eastern Front, began. Ooh. 4 years later, in 1945, EDSAC, the first practical electronic digital stored program computer, ran its first operation. EDSAC, let's see what that stands for, if it stands for anything. Sorry for the coughing. The Electronic Delay Storage Automatic Calculator was an early British computer inspired by John von Neumann's seminal first draft of a report on the EDVAC. The machine was constructed by Maurice Wilkes and his team at the University of Cambridge Mathematical Laboratory in England. See, that's cool, building, doing stuff like that, back in the older years in colleges. Now everything is just uninnovative. So, 1954, Roger Bannister became the first person to run the mile in under 4 minutes. Impressive. 6 years later, in 1960, more than 20 million viewers watched the first televised royal wedding when Princess Margaret married Anthony Armstrong Jones at Westminster Abbey. Okay. 6 years later as well, 1966, Myra Hindley and Ian Brady are sentenced to life imprisonment for the Moors murders in England. And then 6 more years later, in 1972, Dennis Gesmus, Yusuf Al-Hassan, and Hussein Inan were executed in Ankara after having been convicted of attempting to overthrow the constitutional order. It's a hell of a charge right there. 3 years later, in 1975, during a lull in fighting, 100,000 Armenians gathered in Beirut for the 60th anniversary commemorations of the Armenian Genocide. 365 days later, in 1976, a 6.5 MW Friuli earthquake affected northern Italy with a maximum Mercalli intensity of 10, which is extreme, leaving between 900 and 978 dead and between 1,700 to 2,400 injured. 39 years ago, in 1983, the Hitler diaries were revealed as a hoax after being examined by new experts. 5 years later, in 1988, all 36 passengers and crew were killed when Wideroe Flight 710 crashed into Mount Torhatten in Bronnøy. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but I don't know how to pronounce the anti-smoking sign. But, yeah. Anyway, in 1994, Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom and French President François Mitterrand officiate at the opening of the Channel Tunnel. Cool. 25 years ago in 1997, the Bank of England was given independence from political control, the most significant change in the bank's 300-year history. Now keep in mind, these are the same people who own and control all the world's wealth and all that stuff. I'm talking about the Rothschilds, the Red Shield. Look them up. 1 year later, in 1998, Kerry Wood struck out 20 Houston Astros to tie the Major League record held by Roger Clemens. He threw a one-hitter and did not walk a batter in his 5th career start. 1 year later, in 1999, the first elections to the devolved Scottish Parliament and Welsh Assembly were held. Or to the devolved Scottish Parliament. Well, that's unfortunate. Moving on up into the next millennium, in 2001, during a trip to Syria, Pope John Paul II became the first pope to enter a mosque. Wow. Pretty cool. John Paul did a lot of good things. And I see we have a Sohan. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Dang, you overslept or something?
Yeah.
Ah. Well, we are in 2002 now.
Okay. 2002, Dutch politician Pim Fortuyn is assassinated following a radio interview at Media Park in Hilversum.
Dang. Also in 2002, the founding of SpaceX. Alright, well, happy birthday, SpaceX. 20 years. Pretty cool. 8 years later, in 2010, in just 36 minutes, the Dow Jones average plunged nearly 1,000 points in what is known as the 2010 flash crash. Why don't you take this last article here?
2013, 3 women kidnapped and missing for more than a decade are found alive in Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, that was some shit.
Yeah, I don't know anything else about that. Let me look that up actually real quick. Where were they kidnapped from? You know, like, were they?
No,
moved?
kidnapped from town. They were from town.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, Amanda Berry, Gina de Jesus, on journey from captivity to helping others. Interesting. Anyway, let's move on into bursts here. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah.
In 973, we have Henry II, Holy Roman Emperor.
1758, Maximilien Robespierre, French lawyer and politician.
1781, Karl Christian Friedrich Krauss, German philosopher and author.
1856, Sigmund Freud, Austrian neurologist and psychoanalyst.
Yeah, good old Dr. Freud. 1869, we have Junosuke Inu, a Japanese businessman and central banker who was the 8th and 11th governor of the Bank of Japan.
1895, Julio Cesar de Melio de Souza, Brazilian mathematician and author.
What a name. 1903, Toots Shore. Reminds me, for some reason, of that cartoon character from Drawn Together. Toots
Yeah.
was a U.S. businessman who founded Toots Shore's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
In 1907, we have Peter Barnes, a murdered Irish Republican.
Okay. In 1907, Weeb Imbach, U.S. football player and coach.
Oh man, somebody's actually named Weeb? That sucks. 1915, Orson Welles, U.S. actor, director, producer, and screenwriter. Now, he's not the one who wrote War of the Worlds, right? That's somebody else. He's the one who read it over the radio that one time, right?
I think so.
Yeah. 1918, we have Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, Emir of Abu Dhabi and the first president of the United Arab Emirates, also known as the UAE. 1920, we have Kayamese Mara, a Fijian politician who is the first Prime Minister of Fiji. 6 years later, 1926, Gilles Gregory. Are you there? Like, your light is popping up. I don't mean to be... There you are.
I don't know.
Ah. A Canadian politician who co-founded the Parti Québécois. Huh.
1929, Rosemary Cramp, English archaeologist and academic.
Ah. Cramp. What a name. Like, you know, digging for something, she gets a hand cramp. Oh no, and I broke the bone. Oh no. 1943, Andreas Bader, a German terrorist who co-founded the Red Army faction. He was Bader.
1943, Milton William Cooper, U.S. conspiracy theorist and author.
1945, Jimmy Dale Gilmore was born on the States. He is a U.S. country singer, songwriter, guitarist, actor, and producer.
1947, Liam Boron Vaservic, Serbian martial artist who founded Real Aikido.
3 years later, 1953, Alexander Akimov was born on the States. He was a Ukrainian Chernobyl worker.
Okay. 1958, Randall Stout, U.S. architect who designed the Talbot Museum of Art.
1961, Oleksandr Apayev, Ukrainian decathlete and coach.
1961, George Clooney, U.S. actor, director, producer, and screenwriter.
1961 as well, Frans Timmermans, a Dutch politician and diplomat who was the first vice president of the European Commission.
1965, Leslie Hope, Canadian actress, director, producer, and screenwriter.
1983, Gabore Sidibe, a U.S. actress. She kind of looks like, what's-her-face from Parks and Rec, so let me look her up real quick. Images. No, that is not what's-her-face from Parks and Rec. At least I don't think. Anyone who's watching this is the picture that was on my source. So, And I haven't really seen that show. Well, I haven't seen that show at all. It's just I've seen clips and such on YouTube. So, but she is not the right one. Parks and Rec? Let me see if this shows anything. No. No, that's not her. Anyway, 1983, last but not least, we have Trinley Raya Dorji, a Tibetan religious leader who is the 17th Karmapa Lama. Moving on in the deaths, why don't you start us off here?
1968, Ehrenbert, Bishop of Lindisfarne.
I thought that was 698. Anyway, be doing a time jump here, almost twice as much time. In 1236, Roger of Wendover, a Benedictine monk and chronicler.
1631, Sir Robert Cotton, the first Baronet of Covington, English historian, politician, and who founded the Cotton Library.
Interesting. A Cotton Library, that sounds like a closet to me. 1757, Kurt Christoph Graf von Schwerin, Prussian Field Marshal.
1862, Henry David Thoreau
Was an American essayist, poet, and philosopher. 1905, Robert Herbert, an English-Australian politician who is the first Premier of Queensland. Cool. 1952.
1950, Maria Mossori, Italian-Dutch physician and hold on.
An educator. Yep, Montessori private schools and such. I think she founded them. Who founded? Let me look this up. Who founded Montessori schools? Maria Montessori. Yep. Who founded Montessori schools? All right. 1963, we have Monty Woolley, a U.S. raconteur, actor, and director. Now, what is a raconteur? Let's look this up first. So, raconteur. A person who tells anecdotes in a skillful and amusement way. Alright. Monty Woolley. Let's see what movies he's been in. 9 Day, Holy Matrimony. Okay. This guy looks like the guy who plays Hawk. So let's see. Kirby Rides Again. And I'm looking for. No, that's Keenan Wynn played Hawk, so never mind. Anyway, last but not least, 2002, Murray Addiskin died on this date. She was a Canadian violinist, composer, conductor, and educator. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links that you may find interesting, which also includes Soens TV on Twitch and everything Omni Coalition. For your dose of past events daily, we stream every day between 12 noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Time, which is 2 to 5 Central. And for all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander. And he is Sohen, also known as a name that is a swear word or something nasty in Spanish. And you are you. And until you see us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs and subscribe. Toodles! Let's go, Brandon.